a little bit cursed from what I remember.
It was very cursed.
Well, we'll go down memory road perhaps another time as we get into picks and bans. Talia banned, Varus banned. Nothing too crazy quite yet. Really looking, maybe Keduii's Ezreal gets through this time around. I don't know. What do you want to look for?
Even if it does go through, I don't feel like it's this much of a power break. I'm just curious mostly on red side because they have the, how to say, the priority here, or they have the power to decide what goes through with the Trundle being banned. Now I'm looking at the potential Azir versus Wukong trade, but now blue side has, or like SK rather, has the option to just shut the door on that and look for something a little bit more neutral.
Definitely a decent option. Yunara probably was the other thing that we saw on the first day. That didn't make a ton of sense to me. Haven't seen a lot of that champion. Not quite sure where to place it.
There we go. The door is being
banned.
shut. Yeah, with the Yunara, I felt like it was... Teams were just trying to force, you know, the more recent the champion is, the more powerful it is. And it unfortunately failed the test. But at the same time, it was a great thing because we've been seeing new champions take over there way too often. And I was happy to see Yunara just go down in the mud.
Yeah. Unlike our boy K'Sante, who remains a terror. Terror from day one, continuing through, unstoppable, inevitable. Poppy banned at the very least. DnDn. What is the angle going to be?
Probably they're trying to make the Wukong happen here. Well, Kai'Sa has been cursed for a while, so I don't really expect her to come through because usually we saw the Poby into Kai'Sa just to ensure power pick on both. But I am thinking of just, this is probably going to be either a Wukong Xin Zhao trade for the junglers. Well, they already secured the Gwen, which I feel like is a strong pick. But at the same time, on blue side, if you pick a top laner, you're going to get counterpicked at some point. So might as well, you know, lock in something that you feel like is tier 1.
Well,
there goes
Oscar
the Rumble.
Going for the Rumble. And I'm going to be honest, I don't think Oscar had the best Rumble game. DnDn, unfortunately for him, I think had the worst Rumble game of the season so far. So opportunity for both players to prove that they got a little bit more. Yeah, redemption for Oscar's was less egregious, but for DnDn on this SK lineup, I think had some good moments in the Ambessa game. Need to see if the Gwen game is going to look similar. Yeah,
I'm expecting still for him to be on the back foot similar to yesterday because I do feel like if Oscar is playing this matchup the way he's supposed to be playing it, getting maybe the phase rush to find always winning trades, it would ensure that he's still having a chance at redemption. I feel like now DnDn needs to be bailed out. Well, now we're also in a lane swap meta. I feel like there's a lot of ways to bail your top laner out of a sticky situation.
Yeah, we'll see. It was kind of interesting in the BDS game when they got the early kills. We expected more swaps. They didn't opt to go for it. Fnatic seems like a team who will be much more active on the swaps. SK locking in a top side that we've more or less seen from them before. Gwen knew, but the combination of the Pantheon and Ryze did get them early kills in their previous matchup.
Oh, it was nice because typically when we think of SK, we are like, oh, they're supposed to go scaling, especially with someone like Abbedagge because he's the typical control mage player. But I was pleasantly surprised by SK yesterday because I feel like they were very proactive in the early mid game. I feel like in the late game they fell apart a little bit. But given the situation they were against BDS, with this sort of, you know, champions, they have been showing that they can use that proactivity quite well. But on the other side, with Fnatic, man, if I'm looking at Rumble, Orianna, Wukong, I'm thinking maybe a little bit too much Wombo, but man, that's scary.
It's a really terrifying
I'm not happy playing against that.
Yeah, and as noted before, Poby had no problem starting fights by himself. Orianna a little bit better when she can rely on someone else to hit that initial CC, but still a player we're going to be keeping our eye on, especially, I think, early lane phase where Abbedagge has shown that the Ryze can be a big threat, especially when backed up by that Pantheon.
And if I'm not mistaken, I do feel like this is a good matchup for Orianna, so also the Ryze will be struggling to find, how to say, windows to use that opportunity, windows to use that move that he has across the map. But at the same time, I do feel like Fnatic is already pulling ahead in this draft because right now the engaged supports are still open. You don't really need, or like you're going to move away from that Wombo kind of team comp into something that's a little bit more reliable. You don't need to just land, you know, everything to make it work. You're going to have set up from maybe a Nautilus or a Rel or an Alistar. You have the ball delivery system that I think they had yesterday as well. So already I feel like it's starting to shape up that Fnatic's team comp is a little bit easier to play.
Yeah. Does make sense, and
the Yunara
over Yunara locked now. Okay, we're gonna see upsets take on the champion, see if it'll probably just, you know, Kraken, see what happens when he hits 2 items, and what Keduii really has an answer. Again, the Kai'Sa yesterday, the comp was good. You could see what he was thinking with some of the angles.
A little bit overforced.
They were terrible. In the end, you know, history will remember him differently if he had gone in and killed 4 people, but he didn't, and so it looked bad, and he might run it back. Odo, how do you feel about a team like SK who, you know, haven't found the most success, new lineup, more or less just playing the same comp again?
Well, it does make sense because when you're a team that has been struggling historically, because that's just how it is, when you play this sort of style that you have been it looks like they've been repeating it over and over and over in scrims. This is the easiest way to find improvements. You play something that you're familiar with. It's easier to spot the mistakes. It's easier to analyze what your team could have been doing to make it better. And I don't hate it, the fact that they're playing the same stuff. At the same time, now you need to think about it. Does this work into the enemy team comp? Does it really make sense? And from what I'm seeing right now, I don't see that last pick from the Fnatic side. Oh, it is the Braum. Well, you remember how I said that I like Fnatic's team comp more?
Yeah.
Well, it kind of fell apart.
What did you want? If it wasn't the Braum, what did you want? You wanted engage?
I wanted more engage because at the same time, what is the Braum really going to bring you here? Because I'm looking at the team comp that SK has. They have a lot of dive. Realistically, Braum is going to put the shield up. Kai'Sa is going to dive past it. But at the same time, I don't really know if Kai'Sa is going to be able to find this much avenues to walk in and just jump past the front line, straight to the back line to find an angle. But at the same time, now I'm looking at Fnatic and I'm thinking, do you have enough proactivity? Sure, you have Upset on the Yunara. I feel like he's going to make a lot of space for himself. He's going to find angle to dish out a lot of damage, but I feel like Fnatic's lacking a bit of lockdown, while SK side, even though it seems like it might be harder to execute, it might actually just end up being easier.
Yeah, more reliable tools, even if in the context of the game, could be a little bit tricky. Keeping an eye, again, as we always do when there's a Pantheon in the game, of what the early action is going to look like from the side of SK, and also what the Braum pick from Mikyx will bring. Perhaps looking to show us something new as you get ready for this game. Of course, for both these teams, they're second of 4 in our regular season. SK unable to find that victory versus Vedius, but that, of course, coming out on top. And now we get to see Odo.
It's already going to shape up to be... Ooh, it's so peaceful. Actually,
listen.
Oh, and there it is. But yeah, I do think that it's going to be shaping up to be a bot lane or like a bot side intensive game. I do expect both junglers to be fighting to the bot side because I feel like if I'm looking at Fnatic side, I want to leave Oscar alone because he seems like he has this sort of champion. Even though it's Pantheon Gwen, it looks kind of terrifying. The fact that you have phase rush, I feel like you can be independently winning the lane. And at the same time, this meta is so much about bot lane having leverage, finding opportunities to swap. Because pretty much the early game is about, you know, getting the Drake, swapping to grabs, going back to the Drake, swapping back to the Herald, and so on and so on.
Yeah.
Bot lane is pivotal and very, very important to get ahead. So I do expect both of them to go to their bot side because even Upset said it yesterday. Razork, when he went to the top side, it sucked.
It wasn't good.
Game 1 and 2, they were finding themselves, you know, pretty far behind when it comes to the neutral objectives. In Game 3, it was a storm. So that's what I think is going to be happening. Just both junglers going to the bot lane and just making a fist fight.
And that's probably what Upset is asking for, too, if there's anything we know about this man. I've interviewed him for a lot of years. You've played with him. He likes it when the jungler goes bot lane.
He loves it.
He gets mad, I think, if anything else.
He would get mad at me because jungler was coming to my lane.
It's your fault. What are you doing, bro? Tell him.
It wasn't even me. I didn't even call him.
How do you feel about exhausting the Gwen? Does it change anything about the 2v2?
Yeah, it is definitely needed because Rumble's biggest opportunity to find lethal or find good trades is the overheat.
Yep.
So this way, if Gwen manages to dodge one of those windows where she can use the exhaust to get pry or stabilize her lane, then the fight in the bot lane, that's also what Yunara is really, really strong at. You just get your 8 stacks, you get the auto attack reset, and then you can just force level 1 pry so hard.
Yeah. Q start a lot of times in solo queue you're seeing a W start, but able to stack that up pretty easily. And I start to sweat when we look at SK's bottom lane. I look back to that first matchup where they lost those early kills. Loopy stunned up once again.
It just feels like it's double counter pick, to be honest, because you look at, okay, Yunara's winning 1v1 versus the Kai'Sa. At least that's what I would be thinking based on, you know, like, base stats and everything.
Yeah.
Braum is winning against Nautilus, so, like, you know, you put 1+1 together, it's both of them are winning. So now, all of a sudden, that's why I also said that I feel like Pantheon patching to top lane right now is a mistake because your bot lane, it's already 2 minutes 13 game, and I feel like they're quite whiny in game.
They need a little help.
That
much is certain. And that has sadly been the story for the SK bottom lane. Not quite on the same page. Some good moments in the series versus VDS, but some big stinkers as well. So, again, you mentioned before, the Braum in the context of this composition, it doesn't bring the same level of engage we might have wanted to see, but very clearly in the 2v2, it's looking, at least for these first few levels, to be pretty unplayable for SK. Already reset coming in from Keduii.
Yeah, and that's going to open the window for Upset to maybe find the swap. But back to the Braum point, I do feel like it might also be like this thing where you're like, okay, Braum is going to neutralize everything. If you can hands diff your opponent, you don't really need more tools to win, right? If you're just going to find yourself in mid game where you're just like, everyone is winning pretty much. But Poby in the mid lane, it is also going quite well. He is quite stable in this lane, hugging the correct side of the lane. There's not much what he can do because Pantheon is on the top side, which I'm still surprised. They haven't seen Pantheon at all, but all the lanes still seem to be playing so confidently.
Yeah. And important to remember that Fnatic, despite how highly they were rated with their previous roster and even how far they managed to go last season, they did lose to SK.
Oh, they did.
Last time around. And
that was a shocker for me.
That was a big shocker for a lot of people. So hopefully have learned the lesson, give them that same respect. Obviously playing super confidently on bot side, but
I love this reset from Razork. Well, there's a 10-10 reset. Oh, and he hooks in right on the
backing up. That's the flash going out as well as the barrier. Loopy backing away. One more auto. Doesn't quite get it. Upset flashes for the commit, but doesn't have the damage.
This is going to hurt Razork a bit in the long run because I feel like now Skeanz has the opportunity to cross into his top side and invade his second clear because he wasted time. Usually on junglers you have limited amount of time that you can spend on each side of the map to be making this sort of plays. So now I do feel like it's going to translate later for tempo lead when it comes to these neutral objectives.
Yeah, keeping our eye now as the resets do come out. Skeanz hasn't had the opportunity to reset yet, did opt to complete the bottom side camp, and question mark pings from Fnatic make me think that they've more or less just kind of sussed out his pathing. Early objectives, 22 seconds until the Drake, obviously still pretty far away from anything else, but it's Loopy, spotted out on a bit of vision. Luckily, Fnatic already did their due diligence and had a ward to cover a potential early roam.
I feel like this is going to be one of these sleeper Dragon games where I feel like, given the...
No, we can't. It's your first cast. They need to give you a they need to give you an EU Classic. Fist fight for 30 minutes and then one team throws and everything falls apart.
Oh, that would be quite easy. But I meant in the sense where I feel like there's not going to be a lot of Dragon stacking early game because right now it's just junglers are prioritizing. They've cleared so much, and I feel like the first point of contention we're going to be having it around the grabs unless Fnatic finds this window right now with Upset's prio.
Upset is looking to get first push there, pings on the bottom side, and Razork is passing down bot. So it is an angle to take Drake, an angle that SK aren't really well equipped to respond to. As you highlighted, Skeanz, he cleared bot side before, so now he's forced up to the top side. That's
why the slow push here is so nice from Fnatic, because when you hit the wave in this sort of state, you're pretty much, you hold the control. You don't need to cash in on when you want it to actually crash. You have the choice. And what they will want to do is that when Razork is finishing his full clear, that's the moment when they will cash in on the wave and make it crash into the tower. So this way, everything is efficient, unless the fight starts. And then Razork can just start the Drake with easy number advantage from both sides.
Would be the advantage. SK, it looks like trying to fight their way out of this situation as Fnatic now seem ready to pick. DnDn going all in on the top side. Exhaust now burns. Second use of the ultimate. Oscarinin with a fancy feed. Does not sure if it connected, but obviously he's not going to go down. Observers keeping us two places at the same time. Mikyx trying to back up. The stun not quite in range from Skeanz. So both sides just back away.
That's why Phase is so balanced, but at the same time, I do feel like this is a slight blunder from the side of Fnatic, because remember how I just said that they had this control over the wave? Well, they didn't catch it at all, and they just kind of blundered this whole opportunity, because even now, well, I guess they can start the slow push right now, but I feel like that was a great opening for Fnatic to rest control of this bot lane and start this Dragon. But Razork
going forward, knowing the flashes are gone, exhaust used, reset coming out from the clone. Loopy hooking right in, was hoping maybe to find a wall instead. A quick path to the grave as he goes down. First blood for Razork.
And as a jungler, that must suck, you know? If you're Pantheon, if you're Skeanz, you just walk bot lane, you're like, yo, bot lane, are you okay? I just gave you prio, and they're like, yeah, we're fine. And then all of a sudden, the little monkey comes back and just spins the stick around you, and then you just die. And all of a sudden, Skeanz feels a little bit betrayed. He feels like he invested time and it didn't pay off.
I've never heard Wukong summarized so effectively as being so annoying. The little monkey comes and spins the stick.
He's just pure
He literally laughs in the ulti sound. It is very annoying.
That is quite good.
I really liked when, like last year when people played this champ, it looked useless and we stopped. I really preferred it that year.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
I'm just saying I've seen way too many people use the full combo on a Wukong clone. So
that is true.
It just brings a lot of pain to me when I see it often.
Hey, luckily there's no Vi in the game to be potentially embarrassed by a Wukong clone. Although a Pantheon stun could come through, as could a Ryze root, so we'll counter our chickens before they hatch. Does it work?
I'm curious what SK will be looking to do, because with this sort of control that Fnatic has over the bot lane right now, with also Mikyx walking mid and giving prio to Poby, who's still having a great game, all things considered, I do feel like Fnatic has the tempo advantage now to go for the Drake, and that's why I also feel like Keduii is opening mid here, looking for a trade. And yeah, the grabs have been started, but at the same time, Razork seems to be a little bit late when it comes to be starting this Drake.
I mean, good recognition of the window of opportunity there from SK as they do push the wave in mid first. They're in an even state top side, and they kind of just go for it on the grubs in a closer map state. And certainly, Fnatic could have just started Drake sooner, take a bit too much time, and as a result, yeah, they're going to get the Drake. They might get some pressure on the bottom side, but I don't know. Just grubs feel like a more valuable tool to have for the side of SK.
Yeah, when you find yourself in this sort of map state where there's 8 minutes, Drake is up, grubs are up, I always feel like the grubs are the more important one, because what tends to happen is that SK right now, when I think about it, at any moment they find this sort of pry on the bot lane or pry on the top lane that enables them to swap. You, as the side of Fnatic, are forced to match SK forever, because usually when you think about these sort of map trades, 1 tower for 1 tower, what's going to be happening? The moment you start losing that trade, you need to be forced to, you will start being forced to match all the time. And SK, right now, with 3 grabs, they're always going to be finding these sort of windows where they can be forcing these tower trades. And Fnatic feels like now their hands are a little bit tied. It will slow down the game a little bit more because they'll be forced to match, because every sort of trade will be losing. Well, up until that second trade, because that's when the game blows open again.
Opportunity now for SK to push the lead, to leverage the advantage they have in shredding through those towers. But in bot lane, at least, it's tough for them to get control. Looks like Upset is going to be going for Blade of the Rune King. Obviously works very nicely with the fully sacked Yunara Q.
That's something new I haven't seen. Razork.
Razork, flashback. Shockwave also missing, so high value.
I'm not upset about that. Shockwave for flash is always worth. I mean, maybe he was going to flash anyway, but slow cooldown, you get the prio. Now as Orianna, you can keep this prio forever. Walking in and finding engage, using the prio. And now Loopy is forced to move here to relieve the prio, the pressure here that Razork is exerting over.
Skeanz does get the camp, already used the X assault. Razork cloning out over the wall. Flash forward from Loopy. Razork, quick leap to the minion, definitely not getting what they want, but now Mikyx waiting behind them. Oh no, Loopy. Caught out once again. No way out of that one. They're going to donate the kill to Upset.
Oh, of course, it's always Upset. But
for anyone who doesn't know, you guys played together. It's not. I'm firing strays because I know him. You're firing strays because you know him.
I love him.
I love him too. I just want to be clear. The whole world isn't against Upset. It's just the 2 of us.
It's just funny because it's stereotypical AD carry, because I know exactly what he's saying. He's walking there. He's like, guys, give me. And then everyone's like, okay, fine, we're going to give you.
Yeah.
It's like feed the puppy.
Yeah, that's what we used to say with Uzi. It's Upset too. Give some money to your AD carry. He's 500 gold up now.
Well, I do know that he's going to carry with that gold, so you know I'm not sad.
No, I don't think he should be. Upset definitely a rock for this team for the most part. And Razork, I think off to a better start early. It does feel like he started the Drake a little bit late, but otherwise outperformed on the bottom side, got that early kill, 100% kill participation so far. So big glow up since we've seen him. Exactly,
big glow up, because compared to yesterday, I felt like he was on the wrong side of the map most of the time. Early game, he was a little bit all over the place, wasn't really finding good plays. Well, I feel like now he has been, how to say, precise in that sense. Maybe the timings were a little bit off, but in terms of like using his pry, using his laner's leads, I feel like he has been on the right side of the map for most of the time. And it's honestly hard as Wukong to be able to match the Pantheon all the time. So that's why he deserves more props.
Yeah. Also the pre-6, tough to match as well. Razork able to keep up and farm, get that level 6 gank in the bottom side. Second Drake still 2 minutes away, 3 minutes 20 till the Herald. Fnatic, it's an okay gold lead. It's not massive yet, as when you look at the item completions, it's really only Upset who has that significant advantage with the completed Blade of the Rune King. Triforce matched by the Sundered Sky in the jungle department, even despite the lead.
Exactly, but I feel like Triforce is such a stronger spike.
Yeah.
Well, it's going to shift the balances when you see these sort of item discrepancies in terms of spike. I don't really care so much about the gold. Usually the teams, they look to force objectives or they look to force fights when, you know, they have these discrepancies where like you have one item to 0.5 to the components, you have 2 items to 1.5. So right now, even though they're even, right now we've seen it already leveraged from bot lane more, because now Kai'Sa was forced to take this bad base to match this item spike to even stand a chance to contest this Dragon.
Yeah, opting for static early, definitely not a bad item, will help with the wave clear. Tough to match Yunara, right? This is the champion who just shreds waves.
Definitely.
Oh, also, you're old enough to get this. I wasn't sure if I could bring this up with Jack. I'll hold that thought just in case they're going to fist fight in the jungle, and for now it looks like they are. You realize that Yunara's entire champion is just old Ginsu's? Remember when Ginsu's was 8 hits into AoE?
Was it 8?
8 hits. It was pickaxe, it was blasting wand. You'd hit 8 times, and it would do a bunch of AoE damage. Remember Jax used to build it? And I just realized the other day, I was like, hey, they're reusing it. Riot Games design team, that's the same thing.
That's a sneaky little one. But at the same time, it's the same with Irelia, because Gwen is in the game as well. Gwen is pretty much just old Irelia ult. It's like, okay guys, let's scrap it. Yeah, we can bring it back. This seems fair.
It's actually true.
Oh man.
And to be fair, it was as broken as old Irelia for a long time until the champion got, you know, nerfed repeatedly.
Old Irelia was fun.
Old Irelia, well,
most people nowadays.
For who?
For the guy who was playing it, of course. Okay. I hated playing against them, but when I was playing it, I was like, ooh, I'm having so much fun. 2 seconds, point the click CC.
Great champion as long as no one plays it but me. Yes.
Now with SK, even though I feel like they've been falling behind a little bit, I do like this sort of control they have, because that Dragon side is lit up like a Christmas tree. They have so much defensive wards. Not so much offensively, but that circle of 3 pings that is happening in the jungle is beautiful to see. It's going to match a flank, but at the same time, it might just be bait wards. Because realistically, it's nice to have those wards, but would you like them in a more aggressive place? I would say, ooh, and Pantheon, where are you flying?
Might not have the wards, but they do have the Pantheon. Upset forced to ult,
honestly,
though.
really wards.
Transcends uses the dash out.
Utility ultimate for such a combat-oriented spell, or like ultimate, this is actually shaping up to be fine for SK, but engaging
Level
too quickly.
11 for Poby. Razork now spinning in. Abbedagge looking to find the flank. His Skeanz has already been exhausted. Upset still off on the side, even if he doesn't have the ultimate, could do some decent damage. Skeen locked up. They don't really have the follow through. Aegis Assault now used. Upset just sprinting forward, and down he goes. Another kill to the side of Fnatic. SK, it seemed like a decent start when they got the ulti, but Abbedagge's flank is very quickly turning against him. Mikyx there to keep the CC. Upset fully stacked on the lethal tempo. A heal from Loopy. A last is forever. And the top lane, it's a solo bolo. Oscarinin is done as he gets taken out by DnDn.
Well, they really needed something well to happen for SK, because, man, that engage was just a little bit too early. You could see that they thought that all of a sudden we got the mid prio. Everything's going to be okay, but at the same time, they didn't account for the fact that bot lane, they had the prio moving down the river. And it just felt like it's a little bit overforced. There you needed to stabilize a little bit and play slower, get the numbers in, wait for Yunara ult to run out, and then you start forcing plays.
That little moment. We take a look back. You mentioned it before. So Yunara already out of the equation. SK think they can start, but it just doesn't work out.
You're just engaging 3v3 into a Braum shield. You're just walking straight line. The Braum shield comes up. The ultimate comes there. You're just stopping the whole engage. And then it's just so much easy for the backline to arrive and finally start dishing damage, because Nautilus is just so squishy. A lot of his power doesn't come from there. And in the top lane, did he get his phase rush outplayed? Because that's what it felt like. It was honestly very well played from DnDn, because what happens top lane is if you don't proc that phase rush, or if you ever find a window where the phase rush is on cooldown, then Gwen is stronger.
Yeah, it seems like perhaps the mist blocked the third hit to proc the phase rush.
It seemed like
Didn't quite see it, because he did proc it, but it seemed like it was already dead by the time it mattered.
You need to proc it at a critical time, because if you don't do that, then the Gwen still has the opportunity to gap close on you and stick onto you. But now we rumble on the bot side. I'm thinking that now, well, hey, Drakos, what's the next objective? Is it Herald? It is Herald. Well, both teams are just going to swap and go to Herald, aren't they? Oh.
But the question is, are we going to get another 2v2 fist fight? Oscar has called for support from Mr. X here.
That's got my point. They're not on swap, they're just going to do it like that. I mean, Rumble is just a machine. If you're a bot, you can be 1v5.
3 people committed bot side, so you're right. Herald just goes down.
Yeah, well...
Now they're TPing away. SK trying to get the cross-map play here. DnDn going all in. Oscarinin needs to get the hell out. And there's Abbedagge waiting for him. Hand delivered. Mikyx can block one side. They decide not to push for another kill here. I think afraid to lose too much on the top side with the Herald, but they want to go for a bit more. Top lane tier 1 should fall. Mikyx getting lower. Has the flash. But shouldn't be any way to outplay this one.
Yeah, he's realistically a goner here.
Mounted up.
Yes.
Does he find a way out? Flash over the root. I mean, he's buying time. He's getting their attention away from the tower. Mikyx does go down in the end, but Fnatic are going to get 2 towers and a Herald.
Honestly, it looks awful, but at the same time, it's the best thing you can do, because as Fnatic, or like as SK, you lost that Herald. Realistically, you're going to lose 1 or 2 towers no matter what. And honestly, Mikyx sold that play well to give them Herald, threatening a little bit on both sides, making it look like there's something happening. But at the same time, as SK, you're going to lose those 2 towers anyway. Commit. You know, get the Braum. Now you at least have tempo when it comes to exiting on both sides. Maybe you can make something happen, because again, back to 2 minutes. It's about time for that both teams are starting to wrestle for this control for the Drake.
Set up around potentially the Audicon as well, although I doubt either team is going to try to rush it down too quickly. It's a tough situation. I think you're right. The second you know you're going to lose the Herald, you got to make something else happen. It's just, I don't know, I was hoping for a little bit more. I'm going to be honest, Odo. It's a tough situation.
What did you want from SK to do there? Why did you expect a little bit more?
Well, I kind of looked away for a second, and then they had lost all control of top side. So I was kind of hoping they would be in a bit better position to fight, but
Yeah, usually when you're losing, you're looking for trades, and the winning team looks to, how to say, to stop those trades. But at the same time, man, Herald is just such a tempo swing that you really, really need to match, or at least slow the game down by not letting them get it for free.
Yeah. And in the end, it wasn't free. They got 2 quick kills. Bot lane tower still standing. Oscarinin once again going toe-to-toe with DnDn here on the top side, but it's not going to be a 1v1 as Skeanz is on the way. He's running out as fast as he can, ulting to try and clear the wave, knowing he's going down, and SK clearly have a plan of attack, and it's all eyes on Oscar.
Well, it's not really the worst of that. I mean, it sucks, right? But at the same time, it's not the worst of this, because what's happening here is that Fnatic gets a cross map. They'll get both jungle camps, pretty much all 3 camps. They'll get both tier 1. Well, obviously it's going to be traded for top, but at the same time, it's not bad. But I still would have liked to see this sort of dead dodge, because I do feel like yesterday we've seen this often from Oscar. When it comes to mid-game, this sort of dead time between objectives, when it comes to the map becoming stale, mid-game you're pretty much going to get one-shot on the wave. It feels like he's overreaching for these sort of side waves, where in reality he just needs to do nothing. He just needs to wait for the wave to come to him, because the team is already getting a lead somewhere else.
Yeah. Sometimes tough, it seems, to make that call for him. Of course, the good news for SK in the context of this play is that Fnatic were quick on the cross map to get the bot lane tower, but DnDn powerful enough, and with the power of the grubs that we mentioned earlier, can at least get the full tower traded back.
And he's shaping up to be a big threat, honestly, because with these 2 items, I was expecting Rumble to be really strong, but right now, Rumble, he's kind of useless walking into this next objective fight. When I look at Gwen here, all of a sudden, I feel like Tinkoff is swinging. I see the Nautilus now, all of a sudden he's not just engaging and just dying for free, because I feel like if Gwen walks there with a good setup, I feel like she can wreak a lot of havoc in the next fight.
Puts more pressure on Mikyx with the Unbreakable, right? The power of the Braum to mitigate that power, to mitigate the Gwen ultimate. But need to see if DnDn can execute it. The communication is there to find the flank in the team fight. For now, he's just splitting. SK doesn't seem like they want to contest this Drake. Really awkward. It is just Chemtech Soul, but it is Soul Point, and this time around, Oscar more content to do nothing. Just uses the ult, backs away, recognizes that the team is on the Drake, and he doesn't really need to do anything else.
I feel like this is a missed opportunity for a sort of cross map, because the worst thing you can do as SK is just walk up to this Drake and be like, yo, guys, how you guys doing? You're taking the Drake? Yeah? Okay, well,
the spectator objectives?
You know? Yeah, just spectating objectives is the worst, because even though the Rumble is very annoying, right? He's just going to ulti away. I feel like you should be looking for something, maybe top lane jungle cans, get Loopy over there earlier to threaten him off the tower, because now you don't really have a lot of time or a lot of trade for this objective, and Fnatic can just keep on pushing their lead.
Yeah, it's a difficult spot, and the lead has only gotten bigger, right? Still about a 2,500 gold lead, but 3 Drakes now makes it so easy for them to play out the rest of the map. Abba not sure if he can walk up here. Despite the kind of extra people they left around the bottom side, you can see the vision that we highlighted earlier in the bottom side, those 3 control wards. It's mostly still there. It's just that vision is so defensive, it doesn't really give them any control.
Yeah, Fnatic just didn't walk past their line because they have no motivation. Razork finally finds this ward, but at the same time, the game has been so much about objectives and just getting the priors, not really so much pushing your leads in terms of waves, because you don't really need it. But at the same time, you don't need more when you're going to start this Atakan, and all you need to do is just zone the chokes. And now Mikyx is in a position where he's gonna block everything. Orianna ball can go into that rush, and for me this is just a dead objective already for Fnatic. His K is just so late.
Mikyx ready to body block 4K. It is getting lower. Keduii off to the side. DnDn potentially ready to go in, but the objective already gone. Odoamne going to Fnatic. Another huge swing in their favor. Abbedagge pulled out. Skeanz coming in the back, but Abbedagge is already dead. It's an absolute catastrophe. Oscarinin overheated for now, but he's about to drop the equalizer right on cue. Follow-up coming in, multi-man ulti, and that's the wombo we were looking for. Braum not the engaged support we expected, but apparently the one that Fnatic needed. Exhaust on upset, but he's already started doing damage, and it's done in the middle of the team, but he's not doing anything.
And everything is just falling apart right there, because DnDn is TPing so late, and at the same time, you can see the desperation on SK. They're really trying to find an engage, but when you don't have people in position and you're relying on Pantheon to just walk in, even if you ult in with Nautilus and you find engage, you just don't have the enough numbers advantage or even equality to find any sort of fight.
This was disastrous.
It's just, again, when walking through that choke is just so impossible. Abbedagge is split on the bot side. Pantheon is ulting very late, and Fnatic is just sitting as a ball. That's why they find Abbedagge here, because there's no one to catch when the ball is just so tightly knit together. There's just no one to catch, so Nautilus just loses a lot of value. And even now, you're walking into 4v5. The Braum shield is in front, putting stacks on everyone. The Gwen can't really hit anyone. She's not so OP to just 1v5 in this fight, because there's just the shields and everything, and it just feels so desperately hard for SK.
Yeah, and I mean, credit to Fnatic for finding an angle where SK do have to fight them front to back. What it feels like Fnatic's comp in front to back is just so much better outside of the Gwen.
And that's the thing. When I was looking at this team comp, I felt like SK in an even game, they would be winning because I felt like they were going to be finding these angles where, you know, maybe in the setup phase you can find this sort of hook or this sort of engage. But Fnatic, that's also what they're banking on. You know, getting leads. When I said that they're looking to handshake their team, you're getting leads and you're putting the Braum in front. How are you going to walk past them? 1 or 2k goal lead at 10 minutes was enough to just make the snowball happen.
Yeah. In the midst of your point, though, Poby did throw out a random shockwave. Did not connect.
Just for
continuing to walk up, but they're so far ahead, it just doesn't seem like there's anything to be done. DnDn cannot get in the fight. The equalizer goes down. Keduii able to ult out to safety, but they don't even need Baron. Yeah. This is too far ahead. That's 3 dead. Poby going in. Flash forward for Mikyx. Doesn't quite get the angle. Another double kill to come through. This is a slaughter.
Abbedagge was just TPing there for a fight super late, and now if they just tank this minion wave, it's game over. Abbedagge got the next wave, but honestly, this just looks like a 23-minute win for Fnatic. There's no way Ryze can just clear this wave, and honestly, a little bit disjointed from SK, but it's been a tale of desperation for the last 5 minutes when it comes to the objectives. Well, Razork.
Bit of desperation. Razork gives them 1 kill back. Realm more into upset. And
hey,
the Rumble.
That looked cool, you know?
All right, that was a rough one. I think it's safe to say Fnatic confident in control. Oscar did get picked a few times, but not enough to put SK in a comfortable position. The plays they tried to force did not work out, and ultimately, there's not really a lot left to say. Let's get ready for our second game, see if SK can bounce back.